Manny is almost 29 years old. His friends have already gotten married, but Manny still just dates and dates. Finally, a friend asks him, "What's the matter? Are you looking for the perfect woman? Are you that particular? Can't you find anyone who suits you?" "No," Manny replies, "I meet many nice girls, but as soon as I bring them home to meet my parents, my mother doesn't like them, so I keep on looking." "Listen," his friend suggests, "why don't you find a girl who's just like your dear old mother?" Many weeks go by and again Manny and his friend get together. "So Manny, did you find that perfect girl yet? One that's just like your mother?" Manny shrugs his shoulders. "Yes, I found one just like Mom, and my mother loved her and they became fast friends." "So should I congratulate you? Are you and this girl engaged yet?" "I'm afraid not. My father can't stand her." On their honeymoon, the new husband told his bride, "I have a confession to make that I should have made before, but I was concerned that it might affect our relationship." "What is it?" his new bride asked lovingly. "I'm a golf fanatic," he said. "I think about golf constantly. I'll be out on the golf course every weekend, every holiday, and every chance I get. If it comes to a choice between your wishes and golf, golf will always win." His new bride pondered this for a moment and said, "I thank you for your honesty. Now, in the same spirit of honesty, I should tell you that I've concealed something about my own past that you should know about. The truth is, I'm a hooker." "No problem," said her husband, "just widen your stance a little, and overlap your grip, and that should clear it right up." While riding my Harley, I swerved to avoid hitting a deer, lost control and landed in a ditch, severely banging my head. Dazed and confused, I crawled out of the ditch to the edge of the road when a shiny new convertible pulled up with a very beautiful woman who asked, "Are you okay?" As I looked up, I noticed she was wearing a low-cut blouse with cleavage to die for. "I'm okay, I think," I replied as I pulled myself up to the side of the car to get a closer look. She said, "Get in and I'll take you home so I can clean and bandage that nasty scrape on your head." "That's nice of you," I answered, "but I don't think my wife will like me doing that." "Oh, come now, I'm a nurse," she insisted. "I need to see if you have any more scrapes and then treat them properly." Well, she was really pretty and very persuasive. Being sort of shaken and weak, I agreed, but repeated, "I'm sure my wife won't like this." We arrived at her place, which was just a few miles away, and after a couple of cold beers and the bandaging, I thanked her and said, "I feel a lot better, but I know my wife is going to be really upset, so I'd better go now." "Don't be silly," she said with a smile, while unbuttoning her blouse, exposing the most beautiful set of boobs I've ever seen. "Stay for a while, she won't know anything. By the way, where is she?" "Still in the ditch with my Harley, I guess." A young newlywed couple wanted to join a church. The pastor told them, "We have a special requirement for new members. You must abstain from infidelity for 2 full weeks." The couple agreed and came back after 2 weeks. The pastor asked, "Well, how did it go?" The husband sighed, "Pastor, we tried. We really did. But we didn't make it." "What happened?" the pastor asked. The man explained, "My wife was reaching for a can of corn on the top shelf. She dropped it. And when she bent down to pick it up, I just couldn't help myself. I was overcome with desire and, well, it happened right there." The pastor, clearly unimpressed, said, "I'm sorry, but you're not welcome in this church." The man shrugged and said, "That's okay, we're not welcome at the grocery store anymore either. Tag someone who'd probably fail the corn test too." A well-known psychologist was leading a group therapy session with 4 young moms and their little ones. After observing them for a while, he finally said, "Ladies, I believe each of you has a hidden obsession, and it shows in your child's name." He looked at the first mom and said, "You're clearly obsessed with food. You even named your daughter Candy." To the second mom, "Your obsession is money. Your daughter's name is Penny." To the third, "Yours is alcohol. You named your child Brandy." Then he turned to the fourth mom. She quickly stood up, grabbed her son's hand and said, "Come on, we're leaving. I'm still recovering from that one." It was 3 a.m. at a fancy hotel, and the poor receptionist was just about to doze off, when suddenly, an elderly lady came running toward the front desk, totally panicked. "Please pay quickly," she cried. "I just saw a man outside my window. The receptionist rushed up to her room, expecting the worst. "Where is he?" she asked. The old lady pointed to the apartment building across the street. And sure enough, there was a man shirtless moving around inside. The receptionist tried to calm her down. "Ma'am, he's probably just getting ready for bed, and besides, you can only see him from the waist up." The old lady gave her a look and said, "Sweetheart, try standing on the dresser. Some people really know how to get the full view." A group of guys were chatting up a pretty blonde and just messing around, asked her to climb a pole nearby. Surprisingly, she agreed and did it without hesitation. Later that day, she told her mom what happened. Her mom, horrified, said, "Sweetheart, don't you get it? They just wanted to see your underwear." The blonde felt embarrassed for being so naive, but she wasn't about to let them win. The next day, the same guys asked her again, and when she got home, she was glowing with pride. Her mom asked, "What's got you so happy?" And the blonde replied with a smirk, "I totally got them back today. I didn't even wear underwear." Drop a if you weren't ready for that twist. A blonde, looking to make some extra cash, decided to do odd jobs around her rich neighborhood. At the first house, the man says, "You can paint my porch." "How much?" $50, she replies. He agrees, hands her the paint and brushes, and goes back inside. His wife, overhearing, raises an eyebrow. Does she even know the porch wraps around the whole house? He shrugs. She should. She was standing on it. Not long after, the blonde knocks on the door. "All done," she beams. "And I had enough paint left to give it 2 coats." The man, impressed, starts pulling out the cash when she adds with a smile, "Oh, and by the way, it's not a Porch, it's a Lexus." Still laughing? Tag someone who'd totally do this. 2 young boys were playing near a stream when they heard a noise coming from the bushes. Curious, one peeked through and saw a woman bathing in the water with no clothes on. They both stood frozen, staring in total shock. Suddenly, one of the boys turned and took off running like his life depended on it. His friend chased after him and finally caught up. "Why did you run?" he asked. Out of breath, the boy said, "My mom told me if I ever saw a woman I'd turn to stone, and I felt something starting to get hard, so I ran." Bill and Marla thought they had come up with a clever plan for a little alone time one Sunday afternoon, even though their 12-year-old son was home. They sent him out to the balcony and told him to report on what was going on in the neighborhood. So the kid starts narrating like a news anchor. "A car's getting towed from the parking lot. An ambulance just went by. The Andersons have company. Matt's got a new bike. And then the Coopers are having alone time too." Mom and Dad sit straight up. "Wait, how do you know that?" The kid calmly replies, "Their son is standing on the balcony too." A woman walked into the police station with her next-door neighbor to report her husband missing. The officer asked for a description. She said, "He's 35, 6'4", dark wavy hair, dreamy brown eyes, athletic build, soft-spoken, and just wonderful with the kids." Her neighbor looked stunned and blurted out, "What? Your husband is 5'4", bald, has a beer belly, yells all the time, and the kids run when they see him." The wife calmly smiled and said, "I know, but who wants him back?" An elderly couple, fresh off their 50th wedding anniversary, were sitting peacefully on the porch, each rocking in their chairs and reading. Out of nowhere, the wife reaches over and smacks her husband across the head, then calmly returns to her knitting. Stunned, the husband asks, "What was that for?" She replies, "That's for 50 years of less than stellar romance." He shrugs and goes back to his newspaper. A few minutes later, he puts it down, looks at her and gives her a gentle whack on the head. Now she's the one shocked. "What was that for?" she asks. Without even looking up, he says, "That's for knowing the difference." A newly ordained priest, nervous about hearing confessions, decides to ask an experienced priest for some guidance. He requests that the older priest observe his session and offer some advice. After listening in on the second confession, the older priest suggests, "Try folding your arms, maybe rub your chin with one hand, and use phrases like 'I see,' 'I understand,' or 'Yes, my child, go on.'" The young priest takes the advice to heart, and soon afterwards, he shares with the older priest how much it helped him get more details from the congregation. The older priest nods in approval, saying, "Well done." Then with a smirk he adds, "Isn't that much better than slapping your knee and shouting, 'No way'?" What happened next, Epa? A middle-aged woman has a heart attack and ends up in the hospital. While on the operating table, she has a near-death experience where she meets God. She asks, "Is this it?" God replies, "No, you've got another 30-40 years ahead of you." Relieved, she decides to make the most of it. She gets a facelift, liposuction, breast augmentation, tummy tuck, you name it, she did it. Even changes her hair color. She's ready to live her best life. But as she walks out of the hospital after the last procedure, bam, she's hit by an ambulance speeding to the hospital. She gets to heaven and asks God, "I thought you said I had 30-40 more years." God looks at her and says, "Sorry, I didn't recognize you." My cousin just called and asked if I would loan her $300 to help her pay her rent. Those who know me know that I'm always willing to help out friends and family. I told her to give me some time to think about it and I would call her back. Before I called her back, my aunt called and told me that my cousin was lying and not to give her the money. She goes on to say that the real reason my cousin wanted the $300 was to get her boyfriend out of jail so she could be under the same roof as him for his birthday. I thought about it for a minute and decided to give her the $300 because we all need help at times. So I called my cousin and told her to come and get the money. A couple of hours later, I get a call from the Cook County Jail. It was my cousin crying, screaming, and asking why I gave her counterfeit money. My response: so you and your boyfriend could be under the same roof for his birthday. After she woke up, a woman told her husband, "I just had a dream that you gave me the most beautiful diamond necklace. What do you think it means?" "You'll know tonight," he said with a smile. The woman could hardly think of anything else all day, and she couldn't wait for her husband to return home. That evening, the man finally came home with a small package and gave it to his wife. Delighted, she opened it excitedly to find a book entitled The Meaning of Dreams. A man had just finished reading a new book called How You Can Be the Man of Your Own Home Again. He stormed into the kitchen and walked directly up to his wife. Pointing a finger in her face, he said sternly, "Firstly, from now on you need to understand that I am the man of this house and see me accept that what I say goes. Secondly, you will prepare me a gourmet meal tonight, and when I'm finished eating my meal you will serve me a sumptuous dessert afterward. Then after dinner you are going to go upstairs with me to our bedroom where we will indulge in whatever forms of lovemaking that I choose, no matter what you might have said in the past. After that, you are going to draw me a warm bath so that I can relax. You will wash my back and towel me dry and bring me my robe. Then you will massage my feet and hands. Then after that's done, guess who's going to dress me and comb my hair?" His wife replied, "The funeral director would be my guest." A man stumbles upon a lost wallet containing 700. A few days later, he notices a public notice. A wealthy man has lost his wallet and is offering a $50 reward for its return. Wanting to do the right thing, the man tracks down the owner and hands over the wallet. The rich man takes it, counts the money, and immediately frowns. "I see you've already taken your reward," he says. "What are you talking about?" The poor man asks, confused. "This wallet had $750 in it when I lost it." An argument breaks out, and soon enough, they find themselves in court. Each man states his case. The wealthy man finishes with a confident, "Your Honor, surely you believe me." The judge nods. "Of course." The rich man grins smugly while the poor man looks crushed, until the judge suddenly takes the wallet and hands it to him. "Wait, what are you doing?" the rich man protests. The judge calmly explains, "You are, without a doubt, an honest man. If you say your wallet had $750 in it, I believe you. But if this other man was a liar and a thief, he wouldn't have returned the wallet at all, so clearly this must belong to someone else. If the rightful owner comes forward, they'll get the money, otherwise it stays with the man who found it." The rich man is furious. "But what about my money? The judge shrugs. Well, I guess we'll just have to wait until someone finds your wallet with the 700. A magician worked on a cruise ship, performing the same tricks every week since the audience always changed. But there was one big problem: the captain's parrot. The bird watched every show and figured out all the magician's secrets. During performances, he'd blurt out, "Look, it's not the same hat. He's hiding the flowers under the table. Hey, why are all the cards the ace of spades?" The magician was furious, but he couldn't do anything after all. It was the captain's parrot. Then one day, the ship sank. The magician and the parrot ended up floating on a piece of wood in the middle of the ocean. For days they just stared at each other, full of hatred, saying nothing. Finally, after a week of silence, the parrot sighed and said, "Okay, I give up. What'd you do with the boat?" A man is dining in a fancy restaurant, and there is a gorgeous redhead sitting at the next table. He had been checking her out since he sat down, but lacked the nerve to talk with her. Suddenly she sneezes and her glass eye comes flying out of its socket towards the man. He reflexively reaches out, grabs it out of the air and hands it back. "Oh my, I am so sorry," the woman says as she pops her eye back in place. "Let me buy you dessert to make it up to you." They enjoy a wonderful dessert together, and afterwards the woman invites him to the theater followed by drinks. After paying for everything, she asks him if he would like to come to her place for a nightcap and stay for breakfast the next morning. The next morning she cooks a gourmet meal with all the trimmings. The guy is amazed. "Everything has been incredible. You know," he said, "you are the perfect woman. Are you this nice to every guy you meet?" "No," she replies. "You just happened to catch my eye." A 64-year-old man sits on a park bench, tears streaming down his face. A young man passing by notices and stops to ask, "Sir, are you okay? What's wrong?" Through his tears, the older man replies, "I'm in love with a 22-year-old woman." The young man raises an eyebrow and says, "That doesn't sound bad at all. What's the problem?" Between sniffles, the older man explains, "Every morning before she goes to work we share an amazing connection. At lunchtime, she comes home and surprises me with affection and my favorite meal. In the afternoon during her break she rushes home just to make me feel loved. And in the evening, we spend all night together. It's everything a man could dream of." The young man, clearly puzzled, asks, "So, why are you crying?" The older man breaks down further and says, "Because I can't remember where I live." The man pulled out his wallet and said, "If I give you this, will you spend it on beer instead of food?" "No, I gave up drinking years ago," the homeless man replied. "What about gambling?" the man asked. "Nope, never gamble. Every penny counts just to survive." "Okay, will you spend it on golf instead?" The homeless man laughed. "Are you crazy? I haven't played golf in 20 years. All right. Last question, will you blow it on a woman instead of food?" The homeless man scoffed. "What could I even get for 10 lousy bucks?" The man smiled and said, "Well, I'm not giving you the money. Instead, I'm taking you home for a huge homemade dinner from my wife." The homeless man was shocked. "Won't she be mad? I mean, I'm dirty, I probably stink." The man grinned. "No, she needs to see what happens to a man when he gives up beer, gambling, golf and women." A lawyer married a woman who had previously divorced 5 husbands. On their wedding night, she told her new husband, "Please be gentle, I'm still a virgin." "What?" said the puzzled groom. "How can that be, if you've been married 5 times?" "Well, husband 1 was a sales representative. He kept telling me how great it was going to be. Husband 2 was an engineer. He understood the basic process, but wanted 3 years to research, implement, and design a new state-of-the-art method. Husband 3 was in marketing. Although he had a nice product, he was never sure how to position it. Husband 4 was a psychologist. All he ever did was talk about it. Husband 5 was a stamp collector. All he ever did was, "God, I miss him. But now that I've married you, I'm really excited." "Good," said the lawyer. "But why?" "You're a lawyer," she replies. "This time I know I'm going to get screwed." Granny's crying confession at the park. One sunny morning, I spotted an elderly woman sitting on a park bench, sobbing. Concerned, I approached her. "Are you okay?" I asked. Through her tears, she said, "Oh, I have the best life. I'm married to a 22-year-old man who makes me breakfast in bed, massages my feet, plays guitar for me, and writes me love poems." Amazed, I replied, "That sounds incredible. Why are you crying?" She wailed, "Because I forgot where I live. The best birthday gift gone wrong." 3 brothers were trying to impress their mom with the best 90th birthday gift. The first said, "I built you a mansion." The second bragged, "I got you a Tesla with a personal chauffeur." The third smirked, "I sent you a parrot trained to recite the entire Bible." A week later she sent thank you notes, to Gerard, "The house is too big," to Howard, "The driver is rude," to Norman, "The chicken was delicious." One freezing night my husband heard a knock at the door. A drenched man stood outside, asking, "Can you give me a push?" Annoyed, my husband said, "It's 3 a.m., and pouring rain," and slammed the door. I reminded him, "Remember when strangers helped us last winter? Go help him." Grumbling, he went outside and shouted, "Where are you?" "Over here," the voice replied. "Where exactly?" "On the swing set." Just, the Corvette, and the clever excuse. A newly divorced woman bought a flashy red Corvette. While speeding down the highway, she was pulled over. The officer said, "Ma'am, if you give me an excuse I've never heard, I'll let you go." She replied, "Last week my husband ran off with a cop. I thought you were trying to bring him back." The officer laughed so hard he let her go. The hotel bill hustle. A couple received a $350 hotel bill despite only staying one night. The receptionist explained, "It includes access to the pool, spa and conference center." "We didn't use any of that," the husband protested. "Well, it was available to you," the receptionist replied. The husband scribbled a $50 check. "This is short," the receptionist said. "Exactly. I'm charging you $300 for sleeping with my wife." "What? I didn't." "Well, she was available to you." The blonde outsmarts a genius. A Harvard grad and a blonde sat next to each other on a flight. The grad proposed, "Let's play a game. If I stump you, you pay me $5. If you stump me, I'll pay you $5. "Deal," she said. He asked, "What's the distance between Earth and Mars?" She handed him $5. Her turn, "What goes up a hill with 3 legs and comes down with 4? He searched everywhere but couldn't figure it out and handed her $5. "What's the answer?" he asked. She smiled, handed him $5 and said, "I have no idea." Now that you're laughing, share these jokes and spread the joy. Life's too short not to laugh until your sides hurt.